Hello, my name is Paula Martin, and I will talk now about my healthy diet plan, which is my final project for this subject. The aim of this activity would be to find a relation between a healthy diet and a healthy life, and a unhealthy diet and eating disorders. To do so, I would organize the class in 3 people groups in the course of 3rd year of compulsory secondary education in the subject of biology and geology. This does not mean that my subject is biology and geology. Maybe it's a bit confusing. What I mean is that pupils would practice biology and geology while having a CLIL class. For this, I would need 2 sessions. In the first session, I would explain how I want this activity to be and what I expect from them, the evaluation, everything, and refresh their mind with the main ideas of the unit. After the session, they would have a bit time for preparing the poster and the oral exposition, which would take part in the second session. This does not mean that the second session has to be right after the first session. What it means is it can be 1 week between them. What it means is that I just need 2 sessions for this activity. And the brief description of this activity would be, I would like them to show a weekly diet, healthy diet, for a student, for a person of 14 years old, who practices 10 hours per week sport and needs 2,000 kilocalories per day. These kilocalories per day they have to calculate to be 2,000, and that 50% of this 2,000 have to be carbohydrates, 30% fat, and 15% proteins per day. To do so, I would give them several websites where they can check the macronutrients they can get from food, from different types of food. And I would just ask them for 4 food times: breakfast, lunch, break, and dinner. Although they could do 5 times. I would like them to be creative and to just write the most healthy diet they can imagine, considering this percentage and this 2,000 kilograms per day limit, or approximated limit. It can, of course, be a bit more, a bit less. Doesn't matter. Every day they have to calculate this percentage and present it for every day. So they would in the end have a table like this one, and a graphic or a table, or how they would like to do it, I don't mind, of this percentage of macronutrients. After it doesn't have to be presented on the poster paper. I just need the diet and the graphics. They have to prepare themselves for eating disorders, because in the oral exposition I would ask them, or their classmates can also ask if they have any doubts about eating disorders. Maybe here. This activity, because it's a focus for a CLIL class and biology and geology, I would work on 2 different objectives: content, biology and geology, and linguistics, about the language, because all the activity will be done and explained in English. The content objectives are just taken from the law, and the most important one is to identify the importance of healthy habits in order to prevent illnesses. The linguistic objectives, in my opinion, the one I would like them to improve the most is have a degree of autonomy and self-confidence. Although, of course, if they do any mistake, I would correct them, like we should in a CLIL class. For example, I would repeat their sentence a bit slower and write, or tell them this is wrong, you have to improve in this, for example. But they will work in English websites. They will use just English in their oral exposition. If they have any questions, they have to talk in English, and my explanation of the subject will be done in English. The curricular competence and the basic competences are also taken from the law and are, of course, nutrition and health. And the basic competences will be work in different activities within the main activity. Linguistic competence, of course, because we are working in learning another language, a second language, and this is one of the main reasons of the activity. So they will learn and improve a second language. So they will work in speaking, writing, listening, and reading. Math and basic science, actually technology not that much, but math and basic science, they will work obviously because they need to calculate the amount of kilocalories per day and the percentage of every macronutrient. And basic science because they need to have knowledge of nutrients, of nutrition, of macronutrients, and which food has these nutrients, which nutrients is in this other food, and this basic science knowledge. Digital competence, they will work because to check the exactly amount of kilocalories they get from any food prepared. They have to check websites and the internet. And social competence, because they are working on an activity which would help them improving their own lives, so they can compare their diet with the healthy diet they will be preparing. As I said before, they would work on 4 language skills: listening, listening to me while I'm giving the first class, the first session, and listening to their classmates while they are presenting their own healthy diet plan. Speaking, obviously, during the oral exposition. Reading, when they will be checking the website or any other information they would need. And writing while they would be doing their poster paper. How would I evaluate them? This is really important. I don't know how to take myself out of here, but I will just move. I divided this table into 3 main topics. I would like to evaluate them, and within every of them I just wrote 2 different lines. One is for the curricular competence, curricular objectives like biology and geology, and the other is linguistic objectives. So, participation, this is one of the main topics I would like them to work on, is, for example, I would just talk about some examples. For example, if I have one pupil who's not doing anything, but for example, his English interactions are good. He speaks clearly, but he doesn't care about the main activity. Then he could get a 3 in language mark, but a 1 in the activity mark, in the biology and geology mark. The poster paper a bit the same, because one can have a beautiful diet, but there are many language mistakes, although I would help them to correct it. But the most important part, which would count a bit more, is this position. I want them to be fluent, self-confident, and participate within the exposition. So the pupils who are listening to them would give some ideas how they would change this, what does it mean that, and all this. And this is mainly a brief explanation of my final project of my healthy diet plan activity. I hope you liked it, and this is all. Thank you.